No Holds Barred show here with Saul Soliz, MMA promoter and trainer. Saul, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good, good. And looks like we got another Renegades show coming up tomorrow here in Houston. You mentioned to me last time that it's an overnight success, 8 years in the making. Explain the process.
Yeah, actually we started a show about, I believe, April of 1999. And since then we moved from a 300-seat venue to a 7,500-seat venue, which is the Toyota Center. So I'm very pleased, very happy, and I think MMA is really going breakneck speed.
Yeah, and a lot of the people obviously have gotten exposure out of you from The Ultimate Fighter, being an assistant coach with Tito. How did you get involved in MMA to begin with?
Actually, I started a Thai boxing gym in Houston, Texas about 12 years ago. And then after 93, after I saw The Ultimate Fighter, I became very interested in it, wanted to explore some grappling, learned a little bit of jiu-jitsu, did some wrestling, and then started participating in MMA programs. And then from that point on, I loved it so much that I decided to impart the knowledge that I was gaining through competition to my students. So we switched our format, totally dedicated to MMA.
Good deal. And, you know, obviously you're very close again with Tito and a lot of the guys over there in Team Punishment, Dean Lister. What's your status as far as who you're training right now for fights coming up?
Actually, we got Eve Edwards, who's preparing to fight in Bodog. We also have Melvin Guillard, who's fighting on the New Year's card on UFC December 29. And I got a variety of other guys that are coming in to train for a show. I'm going to help Dean out a little bit. He's in town right now. I believe he's also fighting on the 29th card. Kendall Grove is fighting on the 29th card, so we may be going to Big Bear for a little while also to help him out. So we've got a lot of things going on right now.
Yeah, and you mentioned Melvin Guillard. He's got that fight coming up against Rich Clementi. How's the training going on over there, or is there a set schedule already for training?
Yeah, actually Melvin's been here for about 2 months, so he's been training his ass off. He's in great shape. His conditioning is, you know, above and beyond normal, so he's doing really well. Plus he has good technical training partners. He's got Todd Moore, who's about to make his debut in WEC at 170. He's also got Eve Edwards and Lee King. He's a veteran of the game.
Yeah, and talk about Rich Clementi too, because the guy's is a well-known name as far as the hardcore fans go.
Sure.
Is there something that maybe worries you or worries Melvin as far as the way he fights?
Well, I think anytime you get in the ring with Rich Clementi, you're going to have to respect him, no matter what your skill level is. The guy's grown, he's evolved, he's an awesome fighter, awesome competitor, and I think his will to win, you know, is just as strong as anyone else's. So taking that into consideration, Melvin's definitely going to have to rise to Rich Clementi, you know, and be able to survive his onslaught and impose his own will on himself. But I think that it's going to be a great fight.
Are you surprised to see how fast MMA has grown here in the Houston area and just overall?
Actually, I'm not really surprised, because I think that my program, as well as the Fighters Community, my show, have brought MMA to the forefront in Texas. I've been doing it longer than anyone else. I have quite a few competitors that have fought in my show, got their start in my show, that are in the UFC and in Pride and other big organizations now, including, you know, KJ Noons. You've got King of the Cage champion, Buddy Clinton, Eve, Pete Spratt, Carlo Prater, Todd Moore, and the list goes on and on. So taking that into consideration, I think that, you know, we laid the groundwork for it, and I'm not surprised at all, because the fans here are the best fans in the United States. And
talk about working with the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, because they're the ones who are overseeing these events. They played a huge factor as far as getting the UFC to come into town back in April.
Sure.
How did you start working with them, and was it difficult to work with them, or were they really receptive to everything?
The Vice Commission has been great to me. I mean, they've helped the evolution of the sport tremendously. They adopted the Nevada rules, which I thought was very forward-thinking, and at the same time, they've helped me put together a program that I think is just as tight as any other program in the United States, and it's always beneficial to the fighters that everything is well organized, and that's one thing that Texas Boxing Commission definitely does just as well as anybody else on the planet, is they are very organized and they put together a great show.
Any last messages you want to send out?
I just want to thank everyone that's been a fan of my show, that's participated in my show, and I just hope for the evolution of the sport. You know, as far as the positive reinforcement goes, I think everybody's getting behind it now. There's no negative connotation to it. Everybody respects the skill level of the guys are at now, and I just hope it keeps progressing and evolving. And I just want to thank, once again, everybody that supported the show, as well as MMA in Texas.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, bro.
Saul Soliz here for the No Holds Barred show. We'll have this up in a few days. Thanks.
Cool.